Welcome to Lamb Living. I'm Holly Lamb, and this is the engagement episode. My daughter Hope got engaged on May 8th of 2022 to Chandler, and Chandler proposed in front of the entire church that Sunday. It was Mother's Day. Hope thought she was singing the benediction, but he asked her to come down, and he got on one knee and asked her to marry him. There I am, but the choir's off with Mary, and there's Kevin over by the piano, and of course our happy couple and her beautiful diamond. Everybody was there. His family was there. Of course, Kevin and I are there. And so I'm going to make a door hanging for my front door that says "She said yes" and put the date. This is a tray. I painted the back of it yellow, and because that's the color of my front door, and the front I painted in white. It's one of those trays from Family Dollar. You can get them at Dollar General as well. They're $1, not $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. You can get them there as well. But oh, there I am. And but I'm using the oval for my door hanging. They also have them in round. I'm painting the front white, of course, because I'm going to be decoupaging. You can see the napkins over there I'll be using. The back, I used the apple barrel, the bright yellow, and decided that that was a little too bright. So I put May's chalk paint from Waverly that I got at Walmart, which is a little closer to my front door. All right, so I'm going to be decoupaging, and I'm going to use that spring napkin from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be taking off the back ply. These are only 2-ply napkins, so you only have to take off 1 ply. But it's not quite big enough for a border for our oval tray, so I am going to be cutting it a little bit. So I'm going to fussy cut those flowers, and I'll be kind of doing more of that. I'm going to print on tissue paper. So to do that, you just have to take your regular wrapping tissue paper, just that regular wrapping you put in a box in a gift, but you have to tape every little bit of it down or it'll jam in your printer. So that's what I was doing there, and there it is. It's printed out just fine in my printer. And so I'm going to tear it because I don't want any straight lines to show when I decoupage. So I'll set it aside and make a plan. Oh, first of all, I've got a little dark spot there in the middle where that silver is still coming through. And so I had to do a little more painting. All right, I'm using the Aleene's Decoupage, Premium Decoupage Medium. It's just like Mod Podge. It's a little bit cheaper. You get it at Walmart. And because that middle was still a little bit dark, I'm going to decoupage just some of that backing part of the napkin, just the plain white, to kind of try to cover it up a little bit. I just tore up a little bit of that backing paper, and I'm decoupaging that onto the center. And now I'm going to make a plan. I've got all of my flowers cut out there, and so I'm going to start putting them on the edge. Now it's got a little bit of a beveled edge, so it's going to show off really nicely those flowers and the leaves in that pretty spring napkin from the Dollar Tree. And I'm putting it on in pieces little by little. I kind of lay it out, and then I just do a little bit at a time. I don't mind if there's some bubbles. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm just putting a little underneath the napkin and a little bit on top, and then I'll go back over later once this layer dries and put a little bit more just to give it a nice sheen. That Aleene's is a matte finish, so it'll be not too shiny. It'll have a little bit of a shine, but not too bad. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my print out. She said yes, May 8th, 2022. I'm avoiding the ink because I made a mistake and I did not seal it. It is an inkjet printer. My Epson 4800, excuse me, is inkjet, so I will need to, I should have sealed it. It does bleed a little bit of the ink, but I'll go back and fix that in a minute. All right, so I'm using my sanding block and a nail file to file off the edge of that napkin, and it does a beautiful job. There it is. Now it did have a little bit, there's the little dabs of ink It's not real noticeable, but it shows enough to bother me. So what I did is I made a little magnet. I got this at Walmart, and I painted it with black and white chalk paint. It's Toby, of course. And then I printed on the same printout of the She Said Yes. I printed Toby's name in a little heart so that on the tissue paper, so I could decoupage it down and I could practice the white pens I've got there. I've got a chalk writer. I didn't like the chalk writer. I like the metallic paint pen from Dollar Tree. That is a white fine tip ballpoint pen, and it was really, really dark, and so I kind of blotted that with a little paper towel, and I'm going to show you that here. On one foot is the full pen. Yep, one foot's the full pen and one foot is blotted with the paper towel. So I may use that another time. I do like that, but it's a little dark, so I'm going to go with that metallic pen from the Dollar Tree. The metallic white looks the best for this particular application. Okay, eucalyptus is going to be one of the main greenery choices for the wedding. I say our wedding, but it's Hope's wedding. I am the mother of the bride, proudly. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some eucalyptus, but that's not eucalyptus. That's from the Dollar Tree. That's just foliage. And so I'm going to cut off those ivy tips and make them look like eucalyptus. So that is going to be a huge savings if I'm buying a lot of greenery for the centerpieces. We are going to add fresh flowers, but it's going to have a base. Ooh, I love it. It's going to have a base of the already made centerpieces, and so we're going to try that out today. Now, on the yes, the word yes, it printed out fine on the tissue paper, but I wanted a little bit of shine because Hope wants, our colors for the wedding are white, gold, and then a little bit of blush pink. And the greenery, we're looking to use some of that kind of frosty eucalyptus. Okay. Now I'm going to use this fabric I got at Hobby Lobby. They have a sale going on right now of, I think it's 30% off all fabric, cut fabric. So I got this. It was on the clearance as well, so I got a good buy on it. And so I'm just going to make it into ribbon. You can see I'm just zigzag. I wish I could cut that fast, but it is sped up a little bit. I'm going to zigzag this to go along with the pretty little flowers in this lace fabric and make my own ribbon. I do cut a yard of it there. And I'm going to use one of them for the tie to hold it to the door. And you can see I'm kind of showing that it wants to naturally curl one way. And so I'm going to make that curl go up so it goes forward onto the tray or to the wreath. And so I'm going to fussy cut that, or fussy place it. But my hot glue gun is not heated up yet, so while it heats up, I'm going to cut the flowers for the bottom. Now these are the ranunculus from Walmart. Walmart has beautiful florals. I'll save that stem. I use those for other things. And so I'm going to push up the leaves all the way to the flower. They're down a little bit, so I'm going to push them up, and they're pretty tough, so they're not going to go anywhere. But I want them right up next to the flower. And now my hot glue gun's ready. That's a Sure Bonder from Walmart. I love that glue gun. It never drips. It is a hot glue gun, though. It is not two temperatures. It is hot. I have a little bit of neuropathy in my fingers I'm a cancer survivor, and when I was on chemo a couple years ago, it caused a little neuropathy in my hands, so hot glue doesn't always, it's not as bad, but this is hot glue, so protect your fingers if you're using a hot glue gun and it's on the hot setting. And so I'm tapping that down a little bit. Now I want that to hang, and I do live in South Georgia, so it is going to be on a front door with a storm door in front of it, but it needs to be strong and hold up to high temperatures. So I'm putting a little bit of hot glue and some of that duct tape. It's clear duct tape, and I'm going to tap that down. I got that clear duct tape at Walmart, one of my favorite stores. So now I'm going to put the ranunculus, these beautiful little blush pink and white flowers on the tray. That's all finished and looking so beautiful with that napkin. And I'm going to hot glue the flowers, the leaves, the petals, the stems. They are not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to do just a few on the sides, then I'm going to set that aside and work on the bow. All right, so here we go. We're just going to do a loopy bow, tie it, and fiddle with it. So there we go. We have 2 strands there I'm working with on the bow. And then, we went to Sam's, we went out to dinner, and then stopped in at Sam's, and Sam's had put their ribbon on $2.91 per roll. 50 yards, not 50 feet, 50 yards on these rolls for $2.91. I was so excited. My husband told me that he waited. I went to the restroom. When I came out, he said, I waited to check out because these rang up $2.91. So I yanked a few more off the cart there, or put them in my cart. You'll see those ribbons again, the cute ones with the home and the welcome on them. Okay. So I chose to put a little green in here. I know green is not part of the wedding colors, but I love green, and so it's just going to be a little backing to make the bow pop a little bit on the door hanging. And I dovetail those ends. Now these ribbons are from the Dollar Tree. They're only 9 feet, 3 yards against 150 feet or 50 yards of that Sam's ribbon. Ooh, that was a good buy. But this ribbon from the Dollar Tree is white with a little bit of gold, kind of a confetti or little dots. It's not really polka dots, it's more like confetti. And so I thought it was going to go nicely with our theme, our wedding theme, and our wedding colors with white and gold. So that's going to go on top of the green, and dovetail and fiddle. And there goes our lace ribbon top. Okay, so I'm going to wire them all together. I'm going to run the wire through that lace trim, that lace ribbon, and tie it all together. And with a little bit of hot glue and pressing with that wire, that is now one bow, and it's not going to separate. There we go. And now we're ready for our door hanging. And a little bit more hot glue. And I'm going to press those flowers down into the hot glue of that bow, and then I'm going to hot glue with the petals, the leaves, the stems onto that bow, and so everything is now one. These are Gorilla Glue hot glue. So they are very good. That's the kind of hot glue I like. I get it at Walmart, the Gorilla Glue brand. Trying to decide. Oh, here we go. There's our little lamb, and there's my Mother the Bride pin. Here I go. I'm taking my little anchor from my 4th of July decorations and putting up my door hanging. I love it so much. Look at those beautiful ribbons hanging down, and the tray is so beautiful, and it's light, and it's not that heavy. So, and there's Toby. He's checking it out. And, there he is. I have a little Toby time. And there's his little magnet on the refrigerator. Now we move on to a audition for a centerpiece. I'm just making a little mini here. I told her I was going to be making a little mini using her flower, her colors, and with the white. I'm using a gloss apple barrel white, and we're going to go ahead and paint that. That little hexagon box I got at Michael's for $1.99, and it of course has a wall hanging on the back, a little tooth hanger, and so I'm going to take that off. That is the eyeglass kit, and it has a tiny little screwdriver flathead and the Phillips head inside of there, and so I love to get it out, and I put it back. Now, we are not doing shabby chic for her wedding, so I just got a few of the rough edges off. Now, I'm not trying to distress it. Now, I got all of my white beads from my large beads there. I didn't want to paint, so I just used 4. There are 6 points, but we're just going to do 4 beads for now. I'm going to use that Fix Hull adhesive from the dollar store, and a little bit of hot glue. and I'm going to set those off to dry. It takes about an hour for that to set. Let me get rid of anything that has that Fix-All adhesive on it. And we will use a serrated knife. That's just a big bread knife that I'm cutting a little wedge out of that Oasis. That's the styrofoam Oasis for faux flowers. Okay, now remember those eucalyptus that I cut out? I've been painting. I've been doing a little bit of experimenting, so you can see that I frosted them, but I used 4 different types of paint. I used an Anita's green, the celery green, the ivory Waverly, and then again with that white from the Dollar Tree. I liked them all, honestly. Now I'm trying to decide what flowers to use on this. Should I use the Michaels flowers? Should I use the Walmart flowers? We'll see which one wins in just a minute. So I've cut up my new eucalyptus that I have cut and painted from the Dollar Tree. And I'm putting a little dab on the leaves because I want them to stay right up at the top. I don't want them to slide down. Oh, the Walmart little rosettes for the wind. That's a beautiful rosette stem, and it also has another one that came on the stem. I'll be putting it in just a minute, but I'm just poking those in. No hot glue necessary. That styrofoam's going to hold on to those eucalyptus, no problem. And so there goes the other little rosette that was on that stem from Walmart. Those run about $3.98 for those big stems, but boy, they're worth it. That is gorgeous. Just that bit of pink on the end is just what we're looking for our wedding colors for Hope's wedding. Then I was trying to decide, it needed some white. It was too dark. And so need a lot of white. So I got this stem from Michaels. Michaels has all of their spring flowers on 70% off right now. And so I did pick up a few things and from Michaels because they have beautiful florals there. My goodness. And so they're trying to make room for their fall flowers. And so I picked up some of the spring, and that little bit of white, I don't know what that flower is, honestly, just did the trick. It was just what it needed. We needed a little more white because it is for a wedding, and we're going with stark white, not ivory, and that's what it needed. And so I put a few more. I'm just going to use it all. I'm just going to fill up this little thing. I've got my little spray, and it looks lovely with my little round that I've put in it. And there's what the stems used to look like with a little bit of paint later. And wow, I love that frosted eucalyptus look. Okay, there's our little riser. Adorable. I love that white little riser. Going to put a little bit of hot glue, and that's it. That's all it is. And there it is right there in my dining room on the hutch. And I'm going to put that little marble round, that's a trivet, underneath. I don't know if we'll use those, but I thought it looked nice. Kind of set it apart. Okay, now I've got one more project for this video. I wasn't going to add another one. I was just going to do the 2. You can see there, $3.99. I got that for half off, so that was $2. This little marble-ish wall hanging. It's not marble. It's not real marble. It's some kind of covering, but I'm cleaning it there with just a little water and alcohol. I have that on my desk, and I'm going to put I said yes. This is something for Hope. When my husband and I were at dinner, he said, "Oh, you're not going to give that to Hope?" Talking about the hanging there I made with the lace and the flowers. And I was like, she can have it if she wants it, but I think that I want that for me. So Hope doesn't really decorate with lace and flowers and all that good stuff. So she has a little bit more of a modern look at her house. So I thought I would make this little wall hanging for her door. And I think she'll like this. So I'm going to put I said yes on this one. And I just decided to get Design Space out and Cricut Design Space and use my Cricut. So there we go with the date. And I click Make It. And I'm going to put it on the mat, and there it is. It's going to take 2 cuts with the date on the second cut. Now, I'm going to use Dollar Tree's Cricut vinyl. There's my Explore 2. Okay, so there it is from the Crafter Square. I'm using the black permanent vinyl from Dollar Tree. This is my first time using their vinyl for Cricut. I've used it like contact paper to cover other things, which I've really enjoyed. But this is my first time to cut with it on my Cricut. I'm still new to Cricut, but so far I've loved it. And this one went on to my light grit mat pretty well. It had a bubble where it had been rounded, but I just pushed that thing down. I feel like I should have some crazy music going here, because I pushed that bubble all the way down, but you can see there with the glare from the window, it is smooth. So there goes the first cut. You can see my computer there. I'm just looking in some of my stash. Ooh, so cute, lemons and limes, and some cute straws from the Dollar Tree. I love that drawer. And it's finished, check mark. I turn it around and trim that off, and this is the same vinyl. I just turned the mat around, and I click Make It. I hit the Cricut button on the Cricut there, and it is cutting the date, and it cut it very well. I was afraid that it was not going to. There was a couple little places there, but I'm going to weed the tape first, and oh man, that Lana Jane font that I chose, I love that Lana Jane font, but it is so skinny. And so it was a little hard to weed on the 2022. The 0 just came off of my finger. And so I just set it over there on my, it was stuck on my thumb. So I set it over there on the parchment paper for a minute. I'll stick it back on before I put the transfer tape on. But those 2s took a little bit of time. Now I have this sped up, I think 10 times. I mean, I wish I could weed this fast, but look at this. Ah, Dollar Tree for the win. That weeded beautifully. I just put it onto my little lint roller. All good. Now this is paper transfer tape. I ordered this on Amazon, and oh, I love this stuff. It is a light grip, light tack transfer tape, so it didn't stick at all. Watch this. I just kind of burnished it down, and it just pulled off like a dream. Oh, it's so thrilling. And so I just placed it on my little wall hanging there, no problems, and then I just burnished it down, because again, we live in South Georgia, and so it gets to, you know, it'll get to 100 on most days in July and August, or it'll get close. It'll at least feel like it. And so I wanted to make sure that even though this is permanent vinyl, I wanted to make sure it was down. So I got all the bubbles out, and then I put the date down. Put that 0 back in 2022, and it did so well. Look at that transfer tape. I'm so excited. Look. Oh, mercy. So I just got out a little hemp cord. I didn't think lace was going to do for Hope. She doesn't have a lot of lace at her house. I think it's more of a modern style. So I just tied it in a little shoestring bow and trimmed it up.
Okay.
So here's the front door.
Oh my gosh!
That's the day.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I love
May
it.
8th, yes.
I love it.
This is a little mini centerpiece.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think?
Oh, I can't believe that this isn't real. Oh, it's gorgeous.
I used the
love
Walmart
gold.
flowers.
Oh my gosh.
And
these
those are those
Walmart?
eucalyptus leaves that I made.
Those are beautiful. Wow. I saw them before. What a transformation. I love it.
It's for you.
What? Gorgeous. I didn't even know about this
To
one.
put up in your house.
I love it.
I thought the lace and the flowers are a little bit more like me.
True.
And this one's more like how you decorate.
A little bit more modern. I love this. I had no idea you were making this one. Oh my gosh, it looks so profesh. Love it.
The Psalms say, "May you build your house on the Lord. May He be with you when you rise and when you sleep. May our God fill your home with His peace and joy, and may His love draw you closer to each other as one year fades into the next." From the blue house on the corner with the "She Said Yes" wreath on the front door, See you next time.